2022 being the 20th anniversary of Marvel Legends, Hasbro have said that on the 20th of each month, they're going to reveal a new figure. And on this particular month, they revealed the retro carded Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider figure. We've kind of had this figure a couple of times already, and you've just kind of put it on a new card.
Yeah, I know it's a repaint, but I kind of like the costume on this one. It's like it's going back to that original one that I didn't get, because the one I've got is the one that came on the bike. I never got the original one that came out years ago. So I never got the original one with darker clothing. So I like the darker colors on the Ghost Rider. So it's nice to be able to get the opportunity to get it. And that human head that's on fire with the penance eyes, that looks awesome. And then the skeleton hands as well.
Yeah. The skeleton hands and the human head are enough for me to want this figure anyway. The Riders one came out in 2018 and the single release came out in 2015. So they are old figures. Like, you know, even the 2018 one is pushing 5 years old. 5 years for a figure is a long time for new collectors to come in and not have a key character. And Ghost Rider is a key character for a lot of people. So I'm completely behind them just repainting a costume that works. The part that disappointed me was that, you know what, you've got so many new ability to do so many new things. You could have upgraded him a little bit, like even just making him pinless. Keep the same mold but make it pinless, just so that it looks newer, because once you get it out of the box, it will look the same as that one from 2015 apart from the paint job. And that's what, and for the new collectors as well, that's my argument for the new collectors, because you know what, you've been waiting for a Ghost Rider, you're a newer collector, you weren't here in 2015 or 2018 or didn't get the opportunity. At least now you've got something that is newer, whereas that's not going to be the case. They're going to have something that's repainted from, you know, nearly 10 years ago, which is insane.
I think this is the start of a new line of retro style figures, because they've released that new, not Iron Man, War Machine, haven't there, as well, on that card back, on like a card back. And those card backs were around back in the 90s, weren't they? They're like old card backs from back in the day. Yeah. So I'm wondering whether they're going to, because Ghost Rider's in its anniversary year, are we going to see a bunch of other riders released on that card back? Which to me would indicate that I don't think this particular rider, obviously that based on Johnny Blaze, isn't it? I don't think he's going to be the rider that's going to be a part of the Haslab.
Haslab definitely going to be Ghost Rider then, or did I miss it? Is it officially going to be Ghost Rider?
The only tease they gave was the Ghost Rider, what was it? The 50th anniversary logo with the flame goal, 50 years, and then flames all around the screen, and then Haslab came up. So I did do a video on this, so I'm not going to repeat my thoughts, but since recording that video, I've had a different view. I've had a different idea, and this is what I think is going to happen. So the Haslab will be Robbie Reyes with the Hell Charger, with the car. That's what we're going to get. It's going to be full of everything that they can't just release as a standard figure. The retro card that we've seen isn't a single release. That's not going to be a single release, because they've released it on the 20th of the month. So they've held true to their promise. It's the 20th of the month. Here's a new figure for you. But very cleverly said, stay tuned for pre-order information. For me, that says that card back, we're going to see 2 or 3 or maybe even a full wave of Ghost Riders on that card back, because there are so many that they could put in. They've done Johnny Blaze, they could do Danny Ketch, they could do the Caretaker, they could do the Phantom Rider, the actual original cowboy Ghost Rider. They could essentially give all of the fans that are calling out for all these obscure kind of Ghost Rider figures the opportunity to pick them up in one wave, or kind of similar to what they've done with the Legacy figures, where they're not a wave, but they all come out together in the same box. And that's what I think they're going to do. And it's going to tie in with the Haslab project. So if you have these figures, it makes your Haslab project better, similar to what they've done with Galactus and the Heralds of Galactus, etc., but in a more uniformed way. So right, there's my Haslab, there's my special wave or my special Legacy figures or whatever. Here's my Ghost Rider setup. If there wasn't a wave coming, they would say pre-order at the end of the month, or, you know, pre-order coming X, Y, and Z. They gave none of that information away, which says that it's tied into something bigger.
Yeah, if you look back at the original waves, Toy Biz did it, didn't they, back in the like 90s? But then also did they re-release it along, like do like remakes of them alongside the movie release, which had like Caretaker, Vengeance, and a couple of others in the wave.
They could even throw in like a Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider,
God.
But they could throw in the MCU version. So if they were looking to build up a wave, there are so many obscure Ghost Rider characters they could put in that wave anyway, that they've got a wave, easily a wave or a legacy. I'll call it a legacy because that's what they did with Black Panther. They gave us 6 figures in the legacy boxes. So they've either got a wave or a legacy there. The wave, they don't have to do a builder figure because they're retro carded. But then there's also homage to Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, you know, the characters that we saw in the films, but given us those figures. Like, can you imagine if in the same year they gave us Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, they gave us freaking Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider as a modern action figure? I would lose my, like, I would lose it. I would be like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, give me a Cage figure. Like, I'm just like an accurate head sculpt of Cage, so I can just put him on every single body I've got and just do the Cage version. You know, Nicholas madness of the Cage verse or whatever. Like, but that's my theory. I think that we're gonna see more of these figures.
Honest, I don't collect Marvel Legends, as you know, but I actually do want a couple of Ghost Rider figures for my Halloween collection thing. Because I mean, I always loved Ghost Rider as a kid. Cause I always thought he was like cool-looking thing in comic books. Frankly.
Yeah. The other funny thing as well,
motorbike that's on fire. So I would probably get them.
I got a Sentry figure this week, and I haven't opened it yet. But in there's also the flaming head accessory in here. If they've tooled a new head sculpt of a flaming skull, in the same year that they're doing a big Ghost Rider, like, come on, it's the writing is on the wall, like it's there, and I'm really excited because we are getting really close to the time where information is going to start dropping about this. Ghost Rider for me was such a key character growing up as a comic book to read, because once upon a time it was not cool to be a geek. Like, it was not cool to be into superheroes and into comic books. So for me, Ghost Rider was always one of those comic books that I would kind of sell my friends with, if that makes sense. So I'll be sitting there reading my Spider-Man books and my Avengers and Batman, Superman, like all those kind of things. And they were all characters that other people were familiar with. Like, they knew who Spider-Man was. They knew who Superman was. But to be reading that was proper geeky. And it was like what you're reading about a teenager in like Lycra running around like spinning webs at people. Right, yeah, look at this guy. He's got a flaming head and he rides a motorcycle. Like, tell me that's not cool. Like, you know, and a lot of people kind of gave me a little bit of ease because they were like, oh, actually, that's quite cool, that's quite dark, that's quite, like, you know, if it was metal, it was okay, like, you know. But and Ghost Rider was like a metal character, like it was like a flaming head on a motorcycle. So I got really into Ghost Rider because I found it as a almost like a gateway for people that weren't into the spandex wearing superheroes. And I was like, yeah, I'm reading about superheroes, but look at this superhero, like this one's cool, he's got a leather jacket. So Ghost Rider for me is a massive one that, like, I really hold dear, and it's, you know, to know that we're in that 50th anniversary and that there's so many kind of action figures coming this year is really exciting for me.